Hello everyone, hope you're all having a good day and welcome to, yes, you guessed it, another cozy campfire, this time nestled in the Keep on the Borderlands, which heralds our level 20 arrival into the epic area. Our progress has been fairly smooth. The only things that have really caused us bother have been the mechanical stuff, the golems and well, that type of thing in Shan, the stuff that you can't crit and that we don't do, and they're resistant anyway to our damage. I mean, the light did just less than normal, and the fire, of course, against the iron golems would be even worse because that would heal them. So that was problematic, but aside from that, we've been doing rather well. I've still been sticking with the two spell-like ability AoEs where possible to economize on spell points, and I guess I'll be doing that until level 23 when Evergreen will come available. But no, mana management hasn't been going too bad, and when I really need some big ass kicking to be done, I break into the big boys here. We've got three big boys now. We've got the Firestorm and then these two level 9 things, the Celestial Bombard and the Divine Wrath. This one I particularly like because it's really in tune with our build. It's light damage and invariably it comes down on top of where I am, so it gives us a heal as well. So it could be used like if you were playing in a group and you had a group of melee surrounding a boss target, you could send it down there, it would heal all the melee and hurt the target, which would be nice. Let's have a quick look where we're at with the gear. I haven't changed much because honestly I don't have much for a caster going into Epic. We've changed these two pieces. They were almost placeholders anyway, you might recall, so this is quite nice. Evocation 4 is good for us. Shield bonus we'll take because we're not wearing a shield. Topaz of Evocation in there, good for us. Diamond of Spellcraft for more spell power, so all good stuff there. I tried, I guess, with these two items to create two sort of generic caster items, and pretty successful I think. So we've got Insightful Spell Sight, a bit more spell power. Spell Focus Mastery there, which is nice as we've lost our Evocation 3 from our caster stick that we were using. Upgrading to Epic, the Epic version doesn't have it. Although having said that, the cloak still has it, so it doesn't really matter. And our little set bonus here, sadly it does nothing for light, but you can see there it does give us a 20 bonus on fire spell power and a 4 bonus for fire crit, so not terrible. We have otherwise, I have an orb, as mentioned before. I have the Coalesced Coinage Epic version to go on at 21. I'll be sad to see this one go. In fact, it's debatable whether I should let it go because it's not that big of an improvement, and we're going to lose the Coalesced Flame for the temp spell points. So maybe I should leave it until 23, this, until the Evergreen comes. Fairly bog standard caster stick. Again, this is one that I've used for various other things too. Got some coalesced magic filigree in there, so that's going to help our light and positive as well, which is nice. It's the fire, all the stuff for fire, that, so that's boosted up quite nicely. Other than those, that's all I've done. Just the neck piece and the trinket and the caster stick, that's it. Everything else is heroic. So maybe in the Borderlands we might find, I know there is an item with quality and insightful wisdom on it, for instance, that would be very nice to find. I had a hunt round for it on my characters, couldn't find it anywhere. I think it's a belt. I think it's the equivalent of the one I have called Crystalline Vanity, which is the same but in Charisma. I think it's the equivalent of that. I've been using that for Chaos Mancer Sorcerer lives. So nothing overly spectacular here. The wisdom is okay, not amazing. saves, obviously the will is reasonable because it goes off wisdom, but the other two are fortitude's not bad. The reflex is lacking, but I have boosted that in the Reaper tree. So we've got, we're split between obviously the caster and the defensive tree. So we've got plenty, we've got 9 more reflex saves in the Reaper tree, so that's nice. Some more spell power, more spell DCs and, more spell DCs from the wisdom as well, and some spell pen. I mentioned in the previous episode that spell pen is important for us. We've got 2 insta-kills now. We have the single target destruction, the trollolol thing that I seem to like. And then we've got this criminally underused implosion. The only thing here is you need to be quite close to the targets. It's on a minute's cooldown, I think. What does it do? Every 2 seconds. So it could potentially kill 4 if they fail the save. And the really good thing is, it's, as far as I know, it's the only instant kill to be on an evocation DC, which is incredibly good for synergy with our build because we're pushing the evocation. Talking of pushing, feat for level 18, I took Heighten because I'm becoming aware that just if we're going to do Reaper questing and not Slayers, we need to be trying to hold the things so that they can't hurt us, but also so that we can inflict more damage on them. So I've got this Soundburst heightened. You can see it's costing a ridiculous amount of mana there. We've got it heightened and also enlarged. So the idea will be, wherever possible, to send that in from extreme distance before the packs have had a chance to disperse, and follow up with our much cheaper spell-like abilities. At the moment I've got Maximize, which you might recall I had made cheaper in the Divine Disciple tree. Enlarge and Quicken always on. Let's have a look at the trees, speaking of the trees. So we finished off the heroic trees. We've had a bit of a change around in here. It really was silly. Some of the cost, 6 points for 100 spell points was just ridiculous, even if it was to get 30 light spell power, but that too is grossly overpriced in my opinion. 6 action points for 30 spell power. I think you can get the same for various energies from the Dragonborn tree for half that, so a bit of a swindle all that. So I figured, as we were invested in falconry anyway, let's go and get some more good stuff from here. So we've got some wisdom, we've got a bit of defense there, we've got more hit points, which is always nice to have. True Seeing for the odd secret door, so Lord knows why I have True Seeing still on the spell buff list. And the big one, plus 30 damage to helpless opponents. So I'm figuring that between that and the extra helpless damage we get anyway from hitting things with Soundburst, we should be doing quite well, and it should allow us to save on the spells we're actually using to kill things. Maybe these 2 will be enough, although a reminder that the Holy Smite is capped by default at 10. But because we took these last 2 cores, each one of these gives 1 caster and max caster level in light. So unlike last time, I mentioned, if you saw the last episode, that I didn't take a capstone last time because this one had to be dark to allow me to go up the crit line, boosting fire crit chance instead of light. So this time we've gone all the way in light. We've got extra wisdom, extra saves, extra light power, and positive heal amp, and then the an evocation DC and a caster and max caster level with the light spells. So all in all, a nice capstone for the build. 50 points spent in here because, well, first I couldn't really find too much compelling else to do with them. Second, with Heighten arriving, I wanted to cheapen the cost of that if I could, so that's what I've done. So we've got cheaper Heighten, Maximize and Quicken. And the last few points in Fade Arc, I figured it would be nice to have the always on shield effect, because we don't have that as far as I know from anywhere else. So we don't have to bother clicking anything. And also when we cast Night Shield now, it's giving us 10 PRR for having that. As you can see there, we went from 50 to 60. I know, considering we're in heavy armour, these are not particularly amazing. But that's not bad. The armour class is decent. You can still see 73% defence chance at level. So we are going to get some misses from that. We're not getting torn apart. You can see I've done a couple of tester quests here. So not too bad. Not too bad. I did a couple in the Lords of Dust chain and stopped, you'll not be surprised to know, before I got to the spinner. I just do not fancy that quest at all. Right, I've made a list of notes. Let's just have a quick look at the epic destinies before we get to them. So my plan is to go in Primal for the Evergreen, to be able to then throw all the metas on and just go for it. With all the temporary spell points the Evergreen mantle generates. You can see there the third one there. When using the Primal Destiny Mantle, our spells have a chance to grant 100 temporary spell points. That triggers quite often and is super useful, especially when leveling. The best mantle damage wise would certainly be Draconic. That has a ticking damage, you can see there, so 4 ticks in total, and can trigger on any offensive spell cast, as opposed to this one it has to be, I don't suppose it really matters for us because we're only doing fire and light, and this triggers off fire and light. But let's suppose you were invested in several different elements. The Draconic would trigger on any of those, and the Primal would only trigger on the ones stated. So still a very good fit for our build, this. Bonuses to spell power, fire, light, positive, universal, so couldn't be better that for our build. This one's very good too, the Exalted Angel. Fire, well, the same thing, isn't it there? Is it the same? Yeah, so those two are perfect as regards the spell power things. I've taken the Sun Pillar out of here because I figure we're okay for healing. So Sun Pillar for some decent single target damage, very cheap and short cooldown. So we've stuck with the 3 light SLAs now: Sun Pillar, Sunbeam, and the little what's it called, that Searing Light, and then the Sunbeam standard spell. Taken these mainly because the third one gives more spell power in each case. Same for this one, just boosting the spell power and the casting stats here, extra wisdom there. If you're wondering why I took Cocoon when we are blessed with loads of heals, I ran into a bit of an issue when I put the Maximize and all that on. Suddenly my standard heal that I was using, my little Cure Serious spell, goes from a very manageable, is it 12 spell points, to something crazy like 40. So to get around that, I've got the Cocoon spell-like ability, which is stuck on 12 regardless of which manas I switch on. So that's why I've done that. That's about it. So I plan to go up here, obviously grab the Evergreen and the definitely the extra spell power there, and the lower cost Enlarge is going to help us. Then we can put Enlarge always on and not have to pay through the nose for so doing. The wings are going to be nice here at 26. I think that's about it for the epic destinies. Let's have a quick look where I was at with all these notes. I took plenty. Oh yes, I found a really good use for this thing. That is in our racial tree. And I was there thinking it would just sit on the bar unused for the whole life. It's been known to happen in the past with me for such things. But being hit by the Plague Reaper was one such use. I just thought, oh, go on, let's try it. Let's try and see if we can heal through it, and we totally can. I think it was probably a heal to max, even when plagued. So that was an interesting way of surviving a plague hit. Another one is in Purple's nominal build of the Warlock tank. He deals a lot more in temporary hit points than he does in actual hit points. So the plague is not that big of a deal for him because the temp hit points are unaffected by that. Another thing it helped with, one of the biggest reasons people die in the Reaper difficulty are the nasty damage over time things that the champions can put on you. So this thing is really good for dealing with that as well, because not only does it heal you to full, but I think does it? No, it doesn't take away the actual dot itself, does it? Although it would take away plenty of other conditions. So a nice thing to have on the bar. What have we got next here? Yeah, we did the night revels towards the back end of the heroic. Absolutely wrecked that. I put it on 5 levels above where we were. We were at 17, so I ran it at 22. I was thinking the event would end. It was supposed to end 2 days ago, as far as I knew, but it's still going now. So if I'd have known that, I would have saved it till Epic for the crazy amounts of XP we could have got. But yes, the throwing around the light spells in there was great fun. Speaking of which, I haven't really dwelt on the domain. I've explained what it is, the sun domain, the light spells that we've got from leveling in it. So we've got the sunbeam, searing light, and the sunburst. But if you look here, I don't think I mentioned you get a nice little bonus to fire and light spell power for each cleric level. So we've got a 20 bonus on each of those, which is very nice. But also, the Turn Undead ability grants you and allies true sight we're not bothered for, but causes all enemies in the area to become 10% more vulnerable to light. It doesn't seem to suggest that you need to actually hit them with that. Maybe it's the case, but that being the case, I've put it on the bar, particularly against a boss. I think that could be quite a nice little debuff for us. So we're going to, if I can remember, experiment with that, see if we can get some nice purple numbers coming up. That could be our lightning motes equivalent for this build, perhaps. What else have we got listed here? Oh yes, again going back to the golem issue, I failed the, I'm going to call it the golem optional in Best Laid Plans in Shan. You know, where you have to stop them wrecking the those special boxes. I didn't have any CC for them, and I really struggled to damage them. The one thing I did think of that might have helped us with that was the Comet Fall trip, but I've not been using that, so we just had to accept a fail there. Insta-kill, situationally very handy versus stubborn targets. When you get to the back end of the heroic, you find that your little single target things are taking 2, maybe 3 of them to down one target. So to be able to destruct one target and just move on, been very nice. I'll be honest with you, I haven't pressed the implosion yet because I've only just got it basically arriving in Epic. But I would like to try that and to make it a lot more use of it than we did on our favoured soul build with purple. What else have we got here? Yeah, we already saw a nice example of the insta-kill doing well with the big Orthon, didn't we, in Grim and Barrett? That was awesome, just one shot deleting him. Loved it. Oh, we've got the mini boss spell singer things in the same old song quest in Shan. They're invariably the last left alive, and they can be quite stubborn to put down with little damage dealing spells. So to be able to just delete them, I think they have a low fortitude save, so they lend themselves very well to that. Mana management, yes, among the easiest caster lives I've had on the mana management side. The heroic leveling, your spell-like abilities just carry you through there, whether you're doing the fire or the light. I would say the fire is more damaging overall because the AoE on that firestorm is just incredible. But you do maybe sometimes it would be good to select and steer clear of certain quests like golem heavy stuff and or play in a group. The light is more forgiving in terms of it. At least it will damage most things. There's nothing really that is completely immune to it, or worse, still healed by it. So that's good. So yeah, I was impressed with how much you can lean on these spell-like abilities. I mean, both Firestorm and Sunburst are strong enough that you don't have to lean too much on the thirstier spells like these things here, which cost us big mana. And contrary to my experience with something like a sorcerer, where their signature SLA, the fireball, it towards the back end of heroic, it begins to look really poor, and you really do need to start doing the delayed blast fireball and the meteor swarm. So you need to be paying a premium in mana for doing those, which we haven't had to do. So that's been nice. The blinding, I discovered that we've actually got 3 sources. I mentioned already about these 2, which we have on SLAs. The Sunburst and the Holy Smite both do blindness if the things fail their saves. So to blind in an AoE is pretty nice. But the Sunbeam also causes blindness if they fail the save. So that's nice to know. It's a shame we're not being accompanied by a roguey type here. They would be cashing in big time on all this. I've already mentioned the armor class attracting a fair share of misses. He does have a decent amount of epic martial past lives, which do help boosting the armor class. Mage fire cannons in Shan, yeah, again something mechanical, can't crit it, just painful. I mean, we're lucky on some of the others. The undead we could have had big problems with, but they are taking double damage from light, so they just get hammered anyway. In fact, it might be nice to finish on the undead. Maybe at 29 we could do a run at 1 or 2 of the Delira's Tomb quests and just finish with a bit of fun. That could be nice. Oh, and Sunburst versus Forge Wraiths. I think that's instant deletion. I understand it's the best spell to have in the Too Hot to Handle raid, which is one that I've yet to try. But yeah, that was a big contrast to the last time around where we were fire spec'd, and of course fire useless against Forge Wraith. But the Sunburst just boom, gone. Light's not bad against them either, but the Sunburst spells, deleting packs of Forge Wraith like that, felt extremely satisfying. So yes, Shan in general, I noticed the better balance of light, going light heavy versus going fire heavy, and the Forge Wraith was a big strength of the light versus the fire. Ooze as well get melted by Sunbeam and Sunburst, doing double damage against the ooze. And we've had problems with the ooze in the past. You might recall my druid life at the start. My god, did we have problems against ooze. So yeah, nice to have as well. We have 2 copies now of Sunburst, as this core gave us a spellbook copy. I've used the second one sparingly, to be honest, because it's fairly high spell point cost, and I'm under the impression that Firestorm does a better job against things which are vulnerable to fire. I think we get more bang for our buck from the Firestorm and the Celestial Bombard than we would from another Sunburst. Generally speaking, of course, if we're going against Shadows and Ford Wraiths, then that changes. What else have we got here? Oh yeah, I noticed that some of these spells we've got don't actually have a cap. Most of them, like the Firestorm here, it's telling us caster level 22, max 22. So it's as high as it's going to go, that. Actually no, because epic levels give increases to the cap, don't they, as far as I'm aware? Or is it just caster level they give? We'll find out as we go on. But some of these, the Celestial Bombard, look, no max caster level. This one here, no max caster level. Does that have one? Oh, that's already capped at 20, okay. Sunburst, I don't think, does it have? Oh, max 27. So these two, plus the Sunbeam, for some reason, no max caster level. So these two single target ones are going to get pretty destructive as we go up, or at least that's my hope. Sun Pillar is capped at 22, and of course the little Searing Light is capped at 10. It was, it's now 12. But we do have the option to. Oh, it looks like we've timed out here. that's not good. Maybe it'll just have to be me chattering and no quest if this is how it's going to be. We do have the option to take Master of Light at some stage. I'm thinking probably not, because these, between Sun Pillar and these two, single target light damage is well and truly in a good place. So I'm probably going to go away from that. Another option, a good option for us for crowd control, would be Burst of Glacial as its evocation DC. That would be great for controlling a lot of the things like undeads and plants and all that kind of stuff that Soundburst would be useless against. So that's something to think about moving forward. Oh yes, one of the last quests we did before reaching the cap was the armies. Is it the Armies of Eternal Night in the Morgrave Lower Quad, which is obviously undead heavy, and that just felt like a total troll for our build. We were just erasing things everywhere we looked. I think we even one-shot the Quell before it could get near us, the boss Quell at the end. Yeah, connection has been lost, I can see that. Okay, we might have to finish here with a black screen. I've almost done. In fact, I think that is... Yeah, that's about everything I had to say. So we're in a decent place, aside from the game having just kicked us out. I think what I'm going to do, I'll leave this part there. That was the description done. And try and come back a bit later on when game connection allows with a run through the Borderlands. We'll do it that way. Thank you very much as always for looking, or in this case listening, and I'll speak to you soon. Take care.